Yo, what is up, YouTube? What is up, YouTube? Welcome to another call on Tyrone. Of course, hey. If we're gonna talk about SEC football, of course I gotta wear the Victory Lane t-shirt. Um, Nick Saban is off his rocker. Um, Nick Saban is off of I don't know really what to say. He's kind of just had a weird turn of events tonight. I mean last night and going into this morning. Um, so Nick Saban stated last night that if you go look at the recruiting class that he had, he finished in second and A&M finished in first, and Jimbo paid for it. Um, my thing is, I don't think it's recruiting, right? If you're Nick Saban, you've been on the top of the world for how many years, and you kind of just lost it. Um, and he's kind of lost his touch. Somebody made a joke that nobody wants them Chargers anymore. Um, but my thing wasn't. I don't think my thing was the fact that he went after Jimbo. My problem was the fact he went after Dion. Um, and being that I'm a HBCU fan, being that I'm a SWAC football fan, I'm a FAMU fan. Fangs up. Um, the fact that he came after Dion, who you've done commercials with, you've done all these certain, these scenarios with, you've been around them, you've had these, these situations, and your thing is to go after him and say he paid a kid who, if you think about Travis Hunter, was coming to Florida State University, where he was going to start, of course, but he was coming to Florida State University, a school that wasn't at the highest of highest, and decided to come go play for Dion. The thing about saying that Dion paid $1 million, why that's so false and it's such a false narrative to me, is because Dion only makes $300,000 in a year. For his whole salary is $300,000. The school only gets $8 million for every sport in Jackson State. Their athletic budget is $8 million. So if I have $8 million, I'm going to spend $1 million on one kid to come to my school. And these NIL deals are becoming what we talked about this last year. If you watch my shows from last year, I was telling people those NIL deals are very large. They're very big. These guys are not getting cheap deals. But my thing is, don't blame the coaches for that. These companies are doing it. But to go after Dion, where Jackson State is at a pinnacle right now, where SWAC, I'll say HBCU football, SWAC, especially in the SWAC, they're at the pinnacle right now. And in FCS play, we literally just had the discussion about the FCS playoffs and allowing HBCUs to get in. And we just had a full discussion on Twitter. If you want to go on my Twitter, I'll put the thread out. That we don't get a lot of credit. We don't get a lot of shine. And to go after Dion for getting a guy that wanted to go to Jackson State, wanted to be a part of that culture, wanted to be a part of that situational, progress. It's kind of crazy to me, because why? What makes you want to say something like that about somebody and just dry snitching? So we'll get into the Saban stuff. So Saban this year said that he was going to beat Alabama because he did it last year, and of course he did. He beat them last year. It might have been a fluke, as people like to call it. He beat them. No matter what you say, he beat him. Jimbo Fisher was the first coach in Saban's tree to beat him. He was 34-0 till he got to Jimbo, and Jimbo beat him. And then now you beat Kirby, and then Kirby goes and beats you. So now you're at a point where you're not on top anymore. So if I'm not on top, what am I gonna do? If you're not on top, you're gonna try to pull. It's the crab effect. I'm not at the pinnacle, so what I'm gonna do is pull everybody down. And you can't do that in a sport where we know you to be a person to pay kids. It's been known for years that everybody knows when you go to Alabama, you're going to get you a Charger. If you go to Alabama, he's going to pay for your house. If you go to Alabama, he's going to do this. He's going to do that. So for you to go after Jimbo about something like that, that shows the saltiness in you. That shows your heart. because that man y'all used to work together. Y'all won a national championship together. And for you to go on and go about and be like, man, it. I mean, it makes no sense. It really does. It really doesn't. But yeah. Oh, I forgot you were an Alabama fan. Yeah, I'm going to talk about it, Jalen. I'm going to talk about it because you really, everybody knows that, and Jimbo said it. Jimbo said, let's go back. He said, now I know what this man has done. I done seen what he did to recruit. He said it himself. He said we put him at this pinnacle like he was God, and now he's this big czar in college football, and he has that mentality that I can't be beat. And now that he's getting beat and it's showing, now he's showing he's mad. That's no reason for you're at a not even a press conference. You're at a dinner. I think it was a dinner or something. It was like a booster dinner. You're at a booster dinner. You're bringing up Jackson State, and they asked about NIL stuff. And you bring up First off, Jackson State shouldn't even came off your tongue if we're going to talk about NIL stuff. These HBCUs aren't getting these big time deals, these big things. And you're one of the first teams you said was Jackson State, and said how they paid a kid $1 million. And we know who you were talking about because because he was the number one player this year. And for Travis Hunter, which I felt like he shouldn't have responded, but to say, like my mom has 5 kids and they stay in a 3-bedroom house. But I got $1 million. That's the thing. That's what I'm talking about. You put this boy, really, you put him on Front Street. Like, hey, you $1 million player. But you did the same thing to Bryce Young last year when you were like, oh yeah, when Bryce got here, he had $1 million in NIL deals. So what's the difference? What's the difference? Like, I really don't feel like you talked about how Bryce had already got millions in NIL deals and then Travis Hunter getting $1 million. What is your problem in that? And the thing with Jimbo, if Jimbo did pay for him, we have no proof. We have no evidence that he did. And we've had kids flip. So if Jimbo's paying them, why are kids flipping from A&M? We most definitely had Bear flip from Georgia, go to A&M, and flip right back. And you can say, oh, y'all won a national championship. That's why he did it. If I'm getting paid, I'm not leaving. If I'm a part of a recruiting class that's getting paid, why would I leave? Because our team won a national championship. Is the ring more important or is the money? So, Jalen, don't be an Alabama fan, man. Do we have to go back? Now we got players coming, old players coming out talking about how bad it's been. So, and y'all remember, if everybody remembers, the dude that was on, I think he posted a picture on Instagram. We all remember when he posted that picture on Instagram with the Charger. Everybody's like, where you get it from? We know that how Alabama recruits. I done talked to people that got recruited from Alabama. They know what they doing. It's a great look at what Kirby does. Kirby doesn't have, and that's the thing. We talk about recruiting. We haven't heard nothing out of Georgia from recruiting wise about how Kirby's been recruiting. No scandals, no nothing. Now, I wouldn't be surprised the next couple of days Saban comes out and be like, oh, well, look at all these SEC schools and all they do. When we get to SEC Media Day, it's going to be a thing. It's going to be a big thing. SEC Media Day is going to be huge. It really is. Like, that's going to be a day where it might be ugly. I feel like Saban and Jimbo are going to sit there and they're going to have to talk and they're going to have to be around each other. And you're going to have to see that animosity and that energy towards each other. The thing about Kirby is that Kirby doesn't care. Kirby doesn't have to care about this. I feel like for Jimbo to come out and say what he does is disgusting, and to go look at what despicable, not disgusting. It's despicable how he recruits and what he was doing to get recruits. It's despicable. And we can go back and look at his coaching. He said, go ask any of his coaches and how despicable it was. That's telling. That's telling something. You can't say that we don't know. If you're telling me that I can go ask his coaches how he recruited and how he treated kids and how he did this and that, and they say it's despicable, that's crazy. That shows you something that why? Like, that's not good. That you're telling me that he's treating kids like to get kids, the track record is despicable. Like, I don't even know. It's sad. Like, I feel like as you're starting something that could have been this whole NIL stuff. We knew from the get-go, if you were a college football fan, it was going to start something. We all knew. And we were like, okay, they starting these NIL deals, they starting to get these kids money. Now watch how these coaches and these commissioners and the NCAA, how they all react. Because now we're going into court. If you don't know, if you're going to look it up, we have commissioners from certain, I think the SEC and the Big 12, they're going to Congress to talk about how NIL deals are affecting college football. We have a deal right now going on where somebody, I'm gonna give you the easiest way of saying it. We have, let's say you have 35 gummy bears, right? But you could have up to 30, you could have up to 32 gummy bears. Now you can have up to 85 and even more. Now let's think about that. NCAA is going to approve this because of the transfer portal and because of how many the roster turnovers and think about this though. I want to say this. If we're going to talk about SEC football and roster turnover, Beamer didn't even have a full roster at South Carolina last year. And he talked about it. Kansas didn't have a full roster last year in the Big 12 competition. The reason they're opening up this portal basically where they're saying, I'm going to be able to sign as many players as I want, and as many players these, I'm going to have that many players on my team. Imagine a coach like Kirby, or imagine a coach like Saban, or imagine a coach like Jimbo having the free will to go and get. You have to have 85 players. You have a total of 85 players under scholarship. I can go sign 100 kids. I can go get 100 people to transfer to my school, and I can only have that 85 cap limit. That's so bad for football, for the kids. It's not bad for football. It's bad for the kids. Because imagine signing to a school, and high school numbers are dropping so bad. High school dropping recruiting wise has dropped so low. I think they're in like the 60s because the transfer portal is so big now. So when you think about how the transfer portal, NIL, and recruiting goes, money's going to be involved. Money's going to be like this the whole time. Money is hand in hand. So you can't go after another school about what they did with their money to go get their player, because money's going to be hand in hand. They're locked like this. They're hand in hand. They're getting married to each other. When you talk about college football now, you can't talk about just the sport. You have to talk about the NIL. You have to talk about the transfer portal. You have to talk about money. You have to talk about this stuff. And it's not a bad thing. We want these kids to get paid. We were complaining for years about how these college kids were going out there getting hurt, not having careers, and not getting paid for it. Was only getting scholarships. And you had the people that are like, oh, well, they're getting scholarships. They're getting free school. That wasn't guaranteeing the success that we thought they were, because there's still some college football athletes out here that aren't successful, that are working 9 to 5s. Like, they're not to the point where you expect them to be. So to understand that I can go get a company right now. I can go say, like right now, like you see this, y'all see my bottom scroll. I have Prize Picks sponsoring this podcast. As a kid, I can be like, okay, I'm going to go talk to Prize Picks. I'm going to say, can you sponsor me as a player? And they're going to give me a deal. They're going to pay me to wear certain stuff. I might have a Prize Pick sleeve, might have a Prize Pick, something that says Prize Picks on me, because it's a sign. And I'm going to take commercials. I'm going to do commercials. I'm going to talk to people. That's what it is. And that's what the NIL is. It's literally just sponsorships. They're sponsoring kids. They're sponsoring kids to promote their products. That's what an NIL deal is. So when you talk about the money they're making the money off of pure sponsorships. That's really all it is. And let me see. Nick Saban lost his swag when he went off on Maria Taylor. Yeah, he did. I remember that. Yeah. It's like he got older and it just got worse. When you put it in the aspect, like I was saying, for NIL stuff, I'll go back to Saban. But just to go into the money, I'll talk about the money. If I'm a kid right now and I'm at Oklahoma State, right? I'm at Oklahoma State. I got maybe Raising Cane's as a sponsor, and I got maybe like Body Armor. But if I go to Atlanta, if I go to UG, if I go to Athens, right, I can have these. They got a list of NIL deals you can sign, like, you know. Or I go to Alabama, they got a list where like you can choose which one you want to wear. I go to Miami, I can choose. what do you think that kid's going to do in the transfer portal? He's going to go get the most money for his product. You're selling yourself when you're an NIL kid. And these kids, it's sad to say it like that. But what schools are going to have to do is realize these kids are not just thinking from a football standpoint. These kids are thinking from a money standpoint. If you're Nick Saban and you're losing kids because of NIL money and because this team is giving this kid money and this kid money, change the way you're thinking. Change the way you see football now. If you're going to be so hard-nosed and so stuck on this is football, this is what I is, and this is what Jimbo said. You think he thinks he's a czar. He thinks he's God. And when you put him up and when he's getting knocked down pedestals, when you lose the Jimbo, when you lose the Kirby in the national championship, when you're losing in recruiting, when you're slowly, you're going down, 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 down. And Georgia's up there. A&M's up there. You got LSU's going to be up there. Brian Kelly's not going to go out sad recruiting the SEC. Brian Kelly's going to come up there. You're going to have these schools in the SEC, and you still got to worry about Ohio State. You still got to worry about Oregon because Dan Lanning is Kirby Smart's I call him his little mini-me. So you're going to have to worry about Dan Lanning at Oregon. You're going to have to worry about these other big schools taking your talent away. And he's not used to that. And I think that the money is a problem to him because he can't get that at Tuscaloosa. He can get it for the players for like Body Armor, like these companies. Some kids right now have deals in their city or in their state. It's kids that spot like Zaxby's was oh my God, JT Daniels sponsor last year. He was the NIL deal with Zaxby's. He was the face of Zaxby's last year. Now he's not going to have that same NIL deal because he's in West Virginia. But the thing is, he was making money off of just people sharing his picture, just going to Zaxby's. He's getting a share out of it. And you're not going if you're a Saban, and if it's a money thing, let's just say if it's a money thing, change the way you see it. Have people come in like Kirby did, like Jimbo did, how all these coaches did. Have these attorneys come in, have these lawyers come in, have these people that are at the top. And Kirby had Quavo come and talk to these guys. He had Maria Taylor come and talk to these guys. He's had multiple George UGA Athens alumni come in and talk about how they supposed to talk about money. If that's the thing that you need, go talk to go have people come in and talk to these kids about it. Let them learn like money's not everything. You're going to lose 9 times out of 10 if you're not putting up the most. And if you're Saban and you're worried about a HBCU going to get a number 1 player, an HBCU, first of all, that as FCS school, if you're worried about an FCS school going to go get a player, then you have a problem on the inside. That's an inside problem. That's not an outside problem. That's not how the college football is running. You have a problem with Dion. You just did Aflac commercials with this man all college football season. Y'all was all together. Y'all was doing commercials, Coach Prime and Coach Saban, all of this and that. And you could have learned from him. And that's the thing. Even I had somebody said, it wasn't the comments, but somebody said Barstool paid for Travis Hunter. He's sponsored. That's a sponsorship. That's the thing. These sponsors are giving out so much money that they can control what school you go to. If you're Saban, you can't be mad about that. You got to get better. That's how it is. If these companies don't like Nick Saban, that's just what they don't like. They're going to tell these kids, oh, if you go to Alabama, you can't get this deal. Think about it like that. That's an inside problem. That is a deeper issue than just NIL stuff, because it's an influence, but you're telling it's people. If there's players getting told don't go to Alabama because of Nick Saban, or don't go to Alabama because that's a bad sponsorship, then that's what's going to happen. You have to change the culture. You have to change what you're doing around your area. Reason why I say the reason why I say a lot of kids. I was talking to some people earlier, and I was saying a lot of kids are going to go to these HBCUs now, right? We got a lot of 3-star, 4-star transfers go to HBCUs. And people are like, why are they going to go? Why wouldn't they go to these bigger schools? It's a cultural thing. The culture at these HBCUs, it's like I'll put it like this. I live in Tallahassee, right? You got Florida State and you got FAMU. They separated right by a train track. There's no that literally you go over a train track, you at FSU, you go over the other train track, you at FAMU. And the cultural shift that it feels is crazy because on the FSU side, you feel like, oh, you're in a nice little city, you know, you're cool. Yeah, it's like they got a little college town. When you go to FAMU, everything's in that. It's a small campus. Everything's in this general area, and everybody's like connected. Everybody if you're in the class, you know who's in your class, or you know who's doing this. You know your roommates. Everybody meets people. It's like a brotherhood. It's a camaraderie. Florida State more feels like it's just open, like it's an open campus. Like I got to go over here to go here, I got to go over here to go there. A lot of these HBCUs are smaller. A lot of the camaraderie you build at them is not just by friends, it's not just by teammates. It's by just being at a school where it's built around you. Especially if you're a young black man, you want to go somewhere where you feel like you're wanted, where you're supposed to be there. Certain schools can't make you feel wanted if they're a big school. If I'm getting recruited right now and I want to play and I know I'm good enough to play, a lot of kids was going to Alabama, and a lot of people were saying, oh, if you go to Alabama, you might as well realize you're going to be on the bench your first 3 years. Now kids are realizing, oh, I can go to this HBCU that actually wants me, that's actually going to take care of me, that actually knows my talent level, and be like, okay, I'll go over there and play because I know I'm going to play. I know I'm not going to have to wait that long. And that's the thing. If you're at a lot of these kids are at a point now, they're getting pushed away. I mean, if you think about it, it's more opportunities at other schools than these big Power 5 conference schools. And a lot of in that NIL open that up because I can go to FAMU and go get a couple of sponsorships and be straight, be good. I don't have to worry about that because it's going to be, and then they'll be local. I don't have to worry about having to go fly here to take a photo shoot, have to fly there to take a photo shoot, this and that. Everything is local. Everything is here. You're going to push these kids away at these Power 5 schools because that transfer portal, a lot of these high school kids, you're going to start seeing a lot of these high school kids start signing to these FCS schools and start signing to these schools where they know they can play. Because the transfer portal, this goes into the transfer portal, the transfer portal sucks for high school kids. It sucks. It absolutely sucks because you can think you're going to go in and play, and then you get into a kid goes into the transfer portal, and the first thing they're doing is signing to that school. A lot of these coaches even said they're sitting there waiting on a transfer portal before they're going to sign a high school kid because they want experience. They want kids that have already been playing in college. They'd rather have that than having a kid that's coming straight out of high school. So it's killing college football slowly. I understand where Saban was coming from, but don't go after the two school. Like, don't get. It sounded real like nasty about it, like real snarky. Like, don't do that. That's my only thing about it. Don't try to push down another school to make your school feel better or make you feel better about yourself. That's how I see it. If you like the show, thank you for everybody that's here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for coming on. If there's any questions, y'all shoot them to me real quick. I'm doing more Call on Tyrone's this whole summer. There's going to be a whole bunch of stuff going on. Y'all already know. Start another podcast. I'm going to tell y'all about it one day. Follow my Twitter at Call on Tyrone ATL. If y'all want me to announce it today, I'll announce it today. Y'all got to tell me if you want it today. Tag me. Tell me if you want it. But yeah, just to end it really, just how I want it, I'll end it like this. You, as a Power 5 school, you have to realize culture is a big thing to a lot of these young kids. If your culture isn't there, or if your culture isn't to the point where you want it to be, fix it. That's all I have to say. And with that, we out of here. Peace.